So now what is going on, everybody? FJC here, back with another BattleBit video. Today we're going to be talking about the most recent patch notes that were posted in the Discord regarding weapon balancing. And this time the devs have completely overhauled the pistols. And I'm going to be real with you guys, I've only used a couple of the pistols, including the Unica and the Desert Eagle, off the top of my head for sure. But maybe this will get me to use other pistols before the game completely dies, unfortunately. But let's start out with the first weapon on the list, the M9. This is a weapon I've barely used in the game. Anytime it's been on my character, I've always switched back to the MP443. But we start off with the damage being increased from 30 to 32. The vertical recoil was increased from 0.4 to 0.8, with the horizontal recoil being increased from 0.4 to 0.6. Fire rate was increased from 400 to 600, and the velocity was increased from 250 to 300. The sound spread was lowered from 600 to 450. The draw speed was increased from 1 to 2, and the magazine size was increased by 1 from 12 to 13. Now we move on to the second starting pistol, and in my opinion, the better starting pistol, the MP443. The MP443's changes are pretty similar to the M9, and I'm going to go over them right now. It starts off with a damage increase from 25 to 27, a horizontal recoil increase from 0.1 to 0.3, velocity increase from 300 to 350, fire rate increase from 700 to 750, sound spread lowered from 600 to 450, the draw speed increased from 1 to 2, and the magazine size increased from 16 to 17. I hope the fire rate increase on the MP443 stops the weapon from jamming. I found that previously, if you had a very fast trigger finger, that the game couldn't keep up with it, and it would end up causing the weapon to jam. Now we move on to the USP, and I'm going to be real with you guys, I don't think I've ever equipped this weapon once, but the changes done to the weapon look pretty promising. We start out with a pretty big damage increase from 25 to 30. The vertical recoil was increased from 0.4 to 0.7. The horizontal recoil was increased from 0.4 to 0.5. The velocity was increased from 250 to 320. The fire rate was increased from 500 to 650. The sound spread was lowered from 600 to 450. The draw speed was increased from 1 to 2, and the magazine size was increased from 12 to 15. Now we move on to the Glock 18. This weapon didn't have many changes done to it, and I'm going to be real with you guys, I haven't really used this weapon since about the second week of the game's release. The Glock 18 only had 4 changes done to the gun. We start out with a damage increase from 17 to 19. The sound spread was lowered from 600 to 450. The draw speed was increased from 1 to 1.75, and the magazine size was increased from 16 to 19. Now we move on to the Unica, which is in my opinion one of the better secondaries to use in the game. This weapon had a lot of changes done to it, and I'm honestly curious on how it's going to perform after the patch rolls out. We start off with the damage being lowered from 60 to 56. The light damage was increased from 0 to 10. The vertical recoil was lowered from 6 to 5. The horizontal recoil was lowered from 4 to 3.5. The first shot kick was lowered from 1.5 to 1.1. The running speed was lowered from 1.1 to 1.075. The reload speed was increased from 1 to 1.2. The draw speed was increased from 1 to 1.5. And the Unica now has a headshot multiplier of 1.5, as previously it was default 1.2. Now we move on to the Unica's bigger brother, the RSH-12. This gun has been out pretty much since the game released, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think I've used it a single time. At first glance, the weapon looks like a bigger Unica, meaning it should be more powerful, but up until this point, the Unica did the exact same damage and was a faster secondary, so overall it was just the better option. But we start out with a huge damage increase from 60 to 72. Light damage was increased from 5 to 30. Vertical recoil was lowered from 9 to 5. Horizontal recoil was increased from 4 to 5. The first shot kick was lowered from 1.5 to 1.1. The velocity was increased from 350 to 550. The accuracy was increased from 73.75 to 78.75. The reload speed was increased from 1 to 1.2. The draw speed was increased from 1.2 to 1.3. And it now has a headshot multiplier of 1.5 rather than 1.2. And last but certainly not least, we move on to what is, in my opinion, the best pistol in the game, the Desert Eagle. The Desert Eagle, in my opinion, received the biggest overhaul out of all the weapons that I just listed. We start out with the damage being lowered from 90 to 69, which is huge. The light damage being lowered from 40 to 30. The horizontal recoil was increased from 3.5 to 4. The first shot kick was increased from 1 to 1.1. The velocity was lowered from 600 to 400. The accuracy was lowered from 85 to 78.75. The draw speed was increased from 1 to 1.3. And like the Unica and RSH-12, the Deagle was also given a headshot multiplier of 1.5 rather than 1.2. Overall, I do think this update brings balance to the pistols. Currently in BattleBit, you mainly see people running around with the Desert Eagle or Unica, and occasionally I will see the odd Glock 18 come out to play. So I do think this will bring more variety to secondaries, and hopefully we get to see the RSH-12 being used more in game. Let me know your opinions on the update in the comment section down below, and let me know what you guys think of the RSH-12 being the strongest pistol officially in the game. Anyway guys, this has been FJC, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, much love.